Hello and welcome to today's video. I was recently looking through the big bag that I have, and I keep a bunch of my makeup empties for the end of the year so that I can do an end of year makeup empties kind of video. And I thought, why not go ahead and give you a sneak peek of a couple items and do a top 5, bottom 5 for the year. So if you're excited to see my top 5 favorite empties so far this year and my top 5 least favorite empties this year, then why don't we go ahead and get into it. Okay, as we get started, I'm gonna do my least favorites first, and I'll work from like least bad to most bad, and we'll work from least favorite to favorite there. So to start us off with my least favorites, but the thing that's not the worst product in that category, this is I actually have two here. I didn't really love either one of these mascaras this year. This one particularly was really not good. I don't know if maybe the sample size or the sample of this is just not representative of the full size. I know I've heard so many people say the Superhero It Cosmetics mascara is their like holy grail and they love it, but for me, I found it to be dry. I had to rehydrate this tube constantly, even though the tube, it wasn't like I had hoarded this and it was really old or anything. I had literally gotten it at the end of the year last year, and I just was not a fan of this. I also don't really tend to like natural bristle brushes. Oh my gosh, okay, let me know in the comments if you have trouble saying natural bristle brushes too. That should be like one of those tongue twisters. I really am just getting caught up on it. But either way, wasn't a fan of this. And then honestly, I had to put this one here because my biggest compliment of this is that I like the packaging, and I think that's exactly what ends up putting something like this in the least favorite category, because it literally, like, I compliment the packaging more than I compliment the like actual product. I wonder if I would like the actual formula with the other kind of like silicone or like plastic bristle brush, but for me it just wasn't a favorite this year. The brush itself is pretty big, and if I like went in too hard I'd get it all over my eyelid, so that wasn't my favorite. And I think the biggest thing with both of these is that they both had my hopes up really high and I was just let down. Not that they're necessarily horrible products, but just they fell so far short of what my expectations were for them. So these are landing in my least favorites for the year. Okay, moving into my next least favorite for the year. This is coming from Wet n Wild, and this is their like photo focus concealer. I was really hoping that this would be a good one from the drugstore. I like constantly am rooting for every drugstore concealer that I try to like just wow me so that I can not have to shell out the money for or Tarte Shape Tape, but so far that hasn't been the case. This one I did use all the way up. As you can see, I took out the stopper. And this one was one of the most drying concealers that I tried in a long time from the drugstore. I know people say that Tarte Shape Tape is drying, but this one was more drying in my opinion, so this one is definitely not a favorite for me this year. Okay, the number 3 empty on my list that landed in the not favorite category is this one from here from Chapstick. This is the Total Hydration Lip Oil, and it's a beautiful color in the shade Blushed Bronze. I really like the color, and for a little while I thought I was really in love with this. I would put it on, it was kind of thick, almost like a gloss more than like a lip oil, but it stayed on my lips a good amount of time, so I kind of forgave it for not feeling exactly like lip oil. But the more I used this, especially once I got really serious with trying to use it up, the more I realized that it was actually just drying my lips out. So what is the point of a product like this that's supposed to be hydrating and it's just drying my lips out? So this one was sadly not a favorite for me this year. And that brings me to number 2. This is the Ulta Lip Mask Overnight Treatment. And I also just did not like this. This thing was both drying, but also it just was super thick and also kind of oily on your lips. It was really not comfortable. I got Bo to try this out a couple nights and he hated it too. So I did end up finishing it, but oh my goodness, I was so glad to see this one go because this one was definitely not a favorite. I'm sorry about the noise. They're working on the apartment next door. I'm gonna try to like speak around when they're drilling into the walls, but the noise will be in a couple shots here and there, and I'm really, really sorry for that. Okay, so the number 1 least favorite from my empties pile this year is this Pure Cameo Contour Stick. Thank goodness they don't make this anymore, but this thing I absolutely like was just really underwhelmed by. I ended up digging this side out to try to get the most for my money because honestly this thing had very little product in it, and then this side I finished to the plastic, but I didn't really like it enough to like dig it out. I honestly thought that these were a little bit on the dry side, but also like literally when I tell you that, let's see, I'll show you. Can you see into the tube there? You can see how far the bullet went down into the tube. It's like nothing. It like literally sits right here. I can see the plastic right there. Like this much packaging and all you get is like this much product on each side. That is just shameful. And if I remember correctly, this retailed for about $39.50, which is just ridiculous. I personally got this at TJ Maxx for a couple bucks. Thank goodness I didn't pay the full price, but I kind of give the side eye to Pure for this one because this one just seems like such a cash grab versus actually quality product that they put out. Okay, let's move into like the more positive, upbeat part of this, the top 5. And honestly, I'm sitting here looking at my items and I have really hard time ranking which ones are my favorites. So just kind of take that for what it is. This is really just top 5 favorites in general. I don't really know if I have a true ranking for these. Like 1 second I could rank them one way and then you give me 5 minutes later and let me think about it more and I would rearrange this little like set of 5. So the one I'm gonna start with here is this Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. This is the hydrating mineral veil and I ended up emptying all of this out and finishing it recently. I picked this up from TJ Maxx last year and the reason was because I had not really tried a lot from Bare Minerals, but I really wanted to try one of these mineral veils. And I kind of went into it expecting to be underwhelmed, and it was definitely something that I had never used before. I tend to like loose powders, and I've used up like the Maybelline Fit Me one, I've used up a full Coty Airspun powder, but this one was one that was very different. Well, it's not very different in that it is a loose powder, but it's the most probably fine milled powder that I've ever tried, and I really found that I liked it so much in the winter time. And I actually, if I saw one of these again on sale, I would definitely pick up this powder again because it is so finely milled, and I was really surprised by how much I like this one. Now the next one here I have is a Buxom liner sample. This is a deluxe size sample from Buxom in the shade Hush Hush, and I'm sorry, you'll have to ignore the other swatches on my hand. I filmed a video earlier, but this one I really love the color of. But this guy, when I got it, was about this big, and I think it literally took me, it was easily over a year of like constant use on this guy to use it up. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the value that you get in these Buxom lip liners is really good. And then not to mention the staying power on these guys is really good. I really love this shade. I think it's like a really good warm deep neutral, and I think it's really good to put under glosses, to put under like lighter lipsticks. I just really love this product, and I already have a full size replacement for it because it is a favorite for me. Okay, the next empty I have here is my Laneige lip sleeping mask, and hopefully you can see there, nice satisfying empty jar. I really was surprised by this too. I remember when I first bought this a couple years ago, I believe I got it in 2018. I remember thinking, what in the heck did you just do, DaLin? You spent $20 on a lip balm. I think it's like $20 or $22. And in my head, I just could not reconcile that I had spent $20 on like a lip balm. I do think I got it on sale, but now that it is empty, I'm happy to say that this lasted me 2 years. I use this every night. I would put it on my lips and just use it as a nighttime treatment. I didn't reapply it in the daytime or anything like that. But the fact that this lasted 2 years and it actually did feel good on my lips, and now it wouldn't be there when I woke up, it would definitely wear off by that time. But I didn't wake up with like dry lips. So for me, it justified the price. And I actually find myself missing this a little bit. So I have a couple other lip masks that I'm gonna open up and try, but this is one that I had to give a shout out to. Okay, we have 2 items left to talk about, and honestly, they're a toss up, but I'll go ahead and mention this one here. This is the IT Cosmetics CC Creams. I did end up cutting this one open and getting everything out. Now, when this thing stops pumping, please, if you want to get every penny out of this, cut it open because there was so much product in this thing left after it stopped pumping. But let me tell you, I love this product. I currently replaced this one with the Bye Bye Full Coverage Moisturizer, and honestly, they're almost the same thing. This one right here maybe has like just a touch lighter in like the coverage area, but they feel the same, they smell the same, and I really like them. So a little bit about the foundation. It's about a medium coverage for me, and I find that this is just the most trusted thing that I have when I go on vacation, or if I know I'm gonna be outside for a long time. I want that extra SPF protection. I've spent so many years just destroying my skin with sun that I don't wanna play games with it anymore. So I wear an SPF separately, and then if I know I'm gonna be outside, I wear this, and this is something that I will never be without in my collection, and I just love it. I think it was worth every penny, and I'm glad to have these kind of products in my collection. Okay, time for the number 1 empty in my Empties bag this year. This is the one that I think I missed the most. This is the Origins, let me read it out fully. It's the Origins Ginseng SPF 40 Energy Boosting Tinted Moisturizer Broad Spectrum 40 Sheer Tint Release. And I definitely cut this one open too. This one was one I got from a 21 Days of Beauty sale a couple years ago. I think far in the future, if I ever fell out of like love with collecting makeup, this would be one that I would probably keep. I really love how easy this is to use. It's honestly, you just apply it like a lotion. It goes on like a lotion. It feels like a lotion. It has some a good amount of SPF in it. And I think that it toes that line between not really providing coverage and providing just a little bit of coverage. And I love this on days where I would go to work and I could just throw it on, put some concealer on, put some powder foundation on, put my mascara on, some blush, some bronzer, and like go get out the door. This is that kind of easy out the door product that looks really good on my skin and helps just perfect my skin just a little bit. I actually haven't looked in a while to see if this is still being sold because it is kind of expensive. I believe it's like $30 or actually maybe closer to $40, which kind of like hits me right in the stomach and makes me a little bit sick to think about paying that much for like 1 ounce of product. But I really do find myself missing this. So if you know anything that's similar and like potentially dupes this product, please let me know because I would be dying to try that out. I think I'm also going to keep my eyes out for other products similar to this because I want to try some other things, but in the future I might potentially pick this back up even for full price because I actually find myself missing this quite often. Okay, so that's everything. That's my top 5 and my bottom 5 from my Empties bag this year. Make sure to say hello in the comments. Let me know if you have any favorites or fails this year from your empty pile, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.